Gets in, lads. Welcome back to the Info Podcast. My name is Elijah, and I'm here to talk to you guys about Isaac Hayden's switch to Jamaica that is being reported by Team Talk and a bunch of other news outlets afterwards. I'm going to give you guys my opinions on his potential switch to the Reggae Boyz. But before we get into it, though, leave a comment down below your thoughts on Isaac Hayden's switch to Jamaica, if it happens or not, and if it does happen, what that means for the nation, as well as leaving a like on the video if you guys want more Jamaican content, and then subscribing for that Jamaican content so you guys are one of the first people to watch it when it does come out. So let's talk about Isaac Hayden. You may have heard of him before, you may not have. If you're a big Premier League fan, I'm sure you have. He was a big midfielder for Newcastle at the time of their Steve Bruce era, Rafa Benitez era, which is definitely not looked upon as one of their more favorable eras. He was a part of the team that got them promoted from the championship back in 2017. Then I think he was a big player for them afterwards for the next 2-3 seasons. Since then, he's played for Norwich, Standard Liège over in Belgium, I believe. And yeah, a whole bunch of teams. So Isaac Hayden, a lot of Premier League experience. He made a total of 171 appearances for Newcastle after joining Arsenal from in 2016, I believe. So championship and Premier League experience. And yeah, he's a very, 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 very experienced midfielder who has been around the block, has done a lot of good things in the Prem and championship and whatnot. So his move to Jamaica would be a huge one. He is a natural CDM. He has played center mid, center back, and right back as well throughout his career, but primarily a CDM, which is exactly what Jamaica needs. If you guys have watched other videos on this channel of me talking about Jamaica, you know that the biggest problem I have with them is that their midfield is so lacking. And there are some really, really good midfielders. It's just that a lot of it doesn't work in the way that Jamaica needs to be playing. As in, they consistently play players who do not naturally play in the midfield, or they play more attacking players that have to drop back and be uncomfortable. Mainly with Joel Lottie, he is a center back through and through. He plays center back for club and whatnot, but he has to play DM/center mid every time he plays for Jamaica. Casey Palmer and Bobby Reed have to sit deeper than they're used to, which sometimes works. Casey Palmer has been a great player for Jamaica recently, but doesn't always work and does limit Jamaica's attacking options. So Isaac Hayden coming in is a really, really good opportunity for Jamaica to set up around a good midfield, which is exactly what they need, especially for the games against the USA, who have a pretty good midfield for CONCACAF standards. Jamaica's midfield needs to improve, and with that improvement, I think we're going to see a completely different Reggae Boyz side moving forward. But let's talk more about Isaac Hayden individually. Like I said, he was at Newcastle. Since then, though, he's definitely not in his prime anymore. He definitely does not reach that levels as he once did. He did play for England. I think it was to the U16 all the way to the U21s, but never got to make a senior appearance. And at this rate, he's probably not going to make one at all. So that's probably why he's considering to switch to Jamaica so he gets an international experience, which, hey, I think it's a win-win. If he gets international experience and Jamaica gets him as a player, no losses there. So he obviously does not have much of an opportunity left at Newcastle in the future. He is currently in QPR, I believe. I think he's at QPR. I might be wrong on that. Let me just be sure. No, he is still at QPR, yeah. So he is at QPR right now, Queen's Park Rangers in the championship, on loan from Newcastle, and I just don't think he's going to have much opportunity at Newcastle under Eddie Howe in the future, especially at the level that Newcastle are at now compared to his time there. Definitely not the pecking order. So yeah, his time with them is very, very limited. He is not that player he once was, but still a very experienced player and a crucial, solid player for QPR, who played a pivotal role in their survival at the time. So him being, a really big deal is okay for him to not be that anymore. I do think if he comes to Jamaica, it would be a pretty big deal for him and them, and would be a big thing for the overall style of play and for Steve McLaren, who I think really, really wants a lot of players like Isaac Hayden to consider coming to Jamaica and switching their allegiance and whatnot, because it could be really, really good. Isaac Hayden could be the first in a long line of dual nationals. We just saw Mason Holgate switch over, and he made his debut against Honduras, or he technically made it against Nicaragua, but his full debut was against Honduras in the last international window. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be more players from England coming over to Jamaica. And Isaac Hayden coming over, or considering coming over, is a really, 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 really good sign, which we know as that is exactly what Steve McLaren wants. And hopefully more players will look at Isaac and consider coming over. So his defensive midfield skills is going to be really, really important, I think. And if we see him before November which I hope we do. Obviously, the process to switch, it takes a long time depending on the player and time of doing it. As we see with Mason Greenwood, I think it's going to be really, really good for him. He has proven himself in England in the top league in the world. He knows how to play football very well at a high level. Exactly the kind of player that Jamaica needs. So like I said, it's a win-win. There is no loss here. And it could be a very, very great addition to Jamaica's both defense and attack. Jamaica's biggest problem I think they have is that midfield, like I said, but to get more into detail, the link between the defense and England, the link between the defense and attack is just not there. For the longest time, especially under Heimer Haugemsson, all they were kind of doing is just booting it up. You saw that in the Copa America. We saw that when we went to the game and we vlogged it, so make sure to watch that video. But that's all they were kind of doing. It doesn't really work. You might have Michael Antonio at the front, but he isn't able to physically get the ball every single time, especially against very physical concacaf players who, especially now, don't play too technically. And if you don't play too technically, there is going to be a lot of physicality. So Michael Antonio can't do that every time. And the only person who can do that is Michael Antonio to some extent, maybe Shamar Nicholson, but he was not included in the most recent window. Demarai Gray, Leon Bailey, those players can't be doing that. So you need a link. And I think Isaac Hayden is one of the starts to do such a thing, which is a really, really good thing. Like I said, it's a clear win for Jamaica. It's a clear win for him. And I do hope that he actually does end up making the move because I see no wrong. I do hope it happens before USA. I don't know if it's going to happen before USA. I don't have any more information on that. But when I do, I will absolutely report on it. He will allow Jamaica to set up in a different way that they haven't been used to recently, which is great. How this impacts the team currently, though, in terms of individual players, will be interesting. I don't know if Joe Lottie gets relegated to the bench at that point. Maybe he gets more opportunities in a 3-back or a center-back position. But also, you have Ethan Pinnock, you have Mason Holgate, you have Deshaun Bernard. It's kind of hard to break into that center-back pairing right there. So I don't know what's going to happen to Joe Lottie. I don't know what's going to happen to Damian Lowe. Damian Lowe plays center back and CDM. I prefer him in that CDM position. But truthfully, if you're bringing Isaac Hayden in, I would much rather see Isaac Hayden in that CDM position. So I don't know if Damian Lowe gets relegated to the bench because I don't think he breaks in over Holgate and Ethan Pinnock. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the team is structured with the inclusion of Isaac Hayden. They currently play kind of like a 4-2-3-1. So it's 4 defenders, 2 DMs, and 3 attacking midfielders with 1 striker, of course. Maybe they keep 2 midfielders. Maybe they kind of play a 4-3-3 where they go forward in the back, 1 DM, 2 center mids, and then the 3 attackers instead, no cam. I don't know. You could do that where you could play Bobby Reed as one of the midfielders and Casey Palmer as the other with Isaac Hayden behind you. It's going to be really interesting how they do that if he does end up joining. And I do want to say, I don't think he's the answer to all of Jamaica's problems. Obviously, Jamaica has more problems than just the midfield. And even then, I don't think he will solve all of the midfield problems, but it is a step in the right direction. And it would be a really, really good sign for the midfield. I think it's only a good thing to bolster the midfield by that point. And I do think that him being there will include a lot of game time, a lot of opportunity made for the attack and for the defense. I think overall it's going to be a really, really, really good inclusion. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to add beyond that. I am interested to see if he does join, and if he does, who follows suit after. Apparently, Mason Greenwood is still considering England as his potential, suitors for internationally. Thomas Tuchel did just get brought into England as their new manager. Apparently, according to some reports, they are going to have a talk soon about what that means for Mason Greenwood. Personally, I don't see him playing for England ever again at all. So I do think he's probably going to switch to Jamaica, but let's see if that happens before or after Isaac Hayden. So yeah, it's going to be it for me, guys, but make sure to leave a comment down below your opinion on Isaac Hayden's potential joining of the Reggae Boyz, because like I said, that is a big, big deal. Other than that, my name is Elijah. Like I said, make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this content and you want Isaac Hayden to join. Make sure to subscribe for more Jamaican content in the future, because we got a lot, especially in November for the games against the USA. We may even stream a game. Who knows? If you guys want that, make sure to leave a like. And yeah, hopefully we see you guys in more videos on the channel. And yeah, take care, guys.